Welcome back to another stream. So I'm just going to give you a bit of an overview where we are. So basically, we're making a tower defense game. There's still some work to do, but we've got 2 days left, so I need to. I'll go through it actually. So I need to make the UI a bit more pixely because this is kind of just placeholder stuff. It's not really following the theme of the game jam. But yeah, let me give you a little demo of what the game's about. So we've got our main menu, credits, then a bit of map selection. So we just go on this map. Obviously, at the minute, that's way too many enemies. But we can place turrets, and yeah, that's the most of it, really. I mean, you place turrets, and obviously they shoot the enemies. That's the basics of a tower defense game. So what we're going to be working on today is the targeting feels quite bad. So like if you look here, this turret is shooting these enemies over here, and then these enemies are just sort of walking straight past, which is obviously not ideal. Next issue is if we're in pause, I can still place my towers. I kind of made it hard to see actually, because I've ran out of money, so it's now red instead of blue, which is more difficult to see. But yeah, I can place turrets while this screen's open, which is obviously not intended. There's currently no sort of visual for the range of a turret. So like say I'm placing a turret here, I wouldn't know how far it reached until obviously I placed it, and then it's too late because we can't sell turrets in this game, at least not at the minute. And the last one is when we're in fast forward, the camera controls speed up as well. Oh, I actually survived the first wave. I think that's the first time I've ever survived that massive onslaught. So yeah, so this is the tower speed on two times. If we put it on 1 times, that's the tower speed. And obviously 3 times, you know, that's the tower speed there. So yeah, could do with fixing that. I could show you the bug actually. So yeah, now it's blue. You can see it a little bit easier. But yeah, game over screen. Obviously, I can place turrets, which we don't really want to be able to do. And yeah, well, once we've done that, I'll look to create some more towers, more enemies. I've thought of a few ideas that we could implement to make it a bit more interesting. Yeah, that's it. So let's crack on. We'll start with this first one. So the targeting feels bad. I had a thought on this one, which was I had a few thoughts actually. Let's go back to the. I'll just play again. I'll explain briefly how the current system works. So currently it's just a big trigger box where if an enemy enters, it goes into a list, and the turret will fire the first one that entered the list. So when it's on a straight line, that works to always follow the one that sort of entered first. And the issue here is because the enemies go out of range and then back in range, they're no longer at the top of the list. So obviously it fires on these because it thinks these are further ahead in the list. So yeah, my thought behind this was if we can measure how far the enemies have moved by just doing some simple math in the enemy, we'll be able to just sort by the enemy that's moved the most distance. So that should be, you know, the enemy that's moved the most distance should be the one that's in front. So I'm gonna try and do that, and then we'll see if it's any better. Let's change scene first of all, so we don't have to go through the main menu every time. And then we'll go on our tower behavior script. Probably could have opened Visual Studio in advance. Well, while that's loading, I'll just go over quickly what my enemy ideas were. So obviously fish and turtle we've already got. Fish is just going to be like your standard enemy, that's what you'll get first. Turtle is going to be slower, but it's got more HP. I'm going to have an eel, which is like a faster enemy. So that's going to move faster, have less HP. A penguin, which is going to be stealth. I'll probably do that one last, because that's probably the most complicated one. But that'll kind of work together with the radar turret. So I need to think of a system where you can only see the penguins when they're detected by the radar turret. A shark, I thought there's not really anything special about a shark, but obviously it's just a bigger fish really, so expecting more HP, maybe a little bit faster. There'll probably be few and far between, so you won't get like a mass of sharks, because that would be too overpowering. But then I thought that maybe there could be slow immune, and that sort of ties into the net turret, which will fire a net on the enemies and apply like a slowing effect. And then finally, just another enemy really that's just a bit different is a jellyfish, which regenerates HP over time, which ties into sort of the poison turret really, so it kind of counters the poison turret. And the idea behind that is people can't just stick loads of poison turrets everywhere and kill everything that way. So the jellyfish is going to sort of counteract the oil turret in a way. And turret wise, I've explained most of them. Obviously we've got the harpoon at the minute, that's kind of just straightforward, single target, quick blows. The radar to see stealth, the oil turret applies poison, net turret for slow, and then a torpedo turret, which is just going to be slow firing AoE damage. And I'm hoping this will be enough to create, or to finish off like a short game for the game jam. Alright, so let's get into it then. So we're gonna look at the tower behavior, which is where our script is for choosing which enemy to shoot. How it works. So we've got so at the top here we've got a list of targets. When an enemy enters the area, the turret's range, it'll get added as a target. When it exits, it'll get removed as a target. And then in the update loop, which is obviously where it fires, obviously it'll make sure that the target still exists and it's actually still within range. And if not, it'll remove it from the list. So once it's sort of determined that it's a valid target, it'll just shoot the first target that it saw from the on trigger enter. Which goes into the issue I explained a minute ago, where if it leaves and then re-enters, it treats it as a new enemy when really we want it to be not treat as a new enemy. So what I want to do, this is just a list of transforms at the minute, but what I want to do is do it based on the distance travelled. I think that might be a decent way, or a little hack at least, to make it so it targets the enemy that's been alive the longest. maybe not alive the longest, but yeah, further along the route. Yeah. So need to change this to be. Well, I'll probably make. I wonder if I should make a new object actually. I need to keep track of both. I need to keep track of both the transform and also the. Where is it? Enemy stats. So in here, in the enemy stats, I'm just going to have like a distance travelled in here, which I obviously need to access. I wonder if I can. What's the best way to do this then? So we need to store two variables. We want the transform, and then we want the enemy stats. I'm just going to use a dictionary. Can't really use dictionary, I don't think. I might create a. I'll tell you what. Actually, I'll create a new class, which will just keep. It'll just hold all the information I need. I have to put it in the tower script. And I'll call it targeted enemies. And so that's going to hold our transform. And our enemy stats. And then I think I'll just make a quick method to get the distance travelled. Obviously, I don't actually have distance travelled yet, but I'll just return one for now. But let's try and set this up and make sure it's going to actually work first. We're going to list the targeted enemies. So we just need to get the transform. Fire projectile, that wants a transform. Right, so now we just need to create our targeted enemy. So targeted enemies equals new. Oops. New. Then we're going to set the. Oh, target's not a good name. I've already used that. Target enemy. I'm going to set the transform equal to target.transform. And then the enemy stats is going to be equal to target get component enemy stats. And then instead of adding target transform, I can add my target enemy. Yeah, so how do I do this then? Might need to just create my own loop. Can I do it differently actually? Let's ask the expert, ChatGPT, see if it's got any ideas. So I need to check if the transform is in my list of targets efficiently. And if I just give it this code, that should be enough. It's got a representation of what the target enemy class is. And also that includes a transform, which is what it's using now. So it used to be a list of transform, and I changed it to a list of targeted enemies, which has a transform property. How can I update the on trigger exit? Let's see if it just gives me a solution that I can use right away, or at least an idea of how to do it. Ah, yeah, that works. Yeah, there you go. ChatGPT saved the day. Just paste that in there. Basically, it's going to use link to, it'll just find the first transform which matches the target that's coming. So the target that's just left the turret range. I suppose that's no different to what I was going to do actually, which is create a loop, but link kind of just does it for you. Yeah, it just checks it's not null before it removes it. So that should work fine actually. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to add a sort in here. Right, so let's create a variable target to use, and I'm going to use link again actually. That's going to be targets order by the target. Oops. So we want to. So I made that method, didn't I? So get. What do I call it now? Get distance traveled. So that'll order it by distance traveled, and then I'm just going to get the first or default. Except it's backwards at the minute because that's going to get the one that's least travelled. Let's order it descending. And then obviously this can be null. I think if that's null, we'll just exit out. Rather than trying to create like a loop to find the next one, because it's gonna do that on the next update anyway. So hopefully that'll work. The problem is, I'm not going to know that until I've implemented the distance travelled. Where's my enemy movement? So let's start by getting a reference to our enemy stats. I'll need this later anyway for adding status effects. So enemy stats. Oh, I've already got one. Stats. Okay, I just made it a local variable instead. Let's just assign it at the top of our class so we can access it anywhere. let's see, how do we work out distance then? So let's get the last position. How do we do vector 3? I thought we did vector 3 dot none. Or a 0. Yeah, there we go, 0. And then here we want to set last position to be the transform position. So in the update, what we want is we want to get the distance that it's travelled since the last position. So if we get the, what do we do now? So last position, I can't remember, I'm trying to think which way around it is. So last position minus current position. Alright. Tell you what, ChatGPT will save the day again. I want to add a distance travelled variable for my enemy. This is my attempt so far. Hey, that's it. Need to use the vector 3 distance. That's fine. So I'm going to use parts of this because I don't want to. I just want to leave my existing code as it is, and then obviously distance travelled. That's going to be enemy stats dot. Obviously, I've not made it. Have I not made it? Thought I did. Ah, yes, so that's going to get, yeah, sorry. So enemy stats. I need to create float distance travelled. And we're just going to increment it there. Oops. Sorry about that. I don't know how loud that was when I just whacked my microphone. Yeah, distance travelled. Hopefully, this will work. It's the best way to test it. I suppose we just play. And then we'll kind of click on a few enemies and see if it's... Well, we'll see first of all if the distance travelled is increasing. Well, I'm not sure how we check the targeting. I guess we can just do, yeah, just play and see what it feels like. Let's pause there. We'll get this fish here. Enemy stats, distance travelled 29. And this enemy here should be less than 29. Yeah, 16. This one should be slightly less. Yeah. Okay, that seems to be working. So the distance is working, so let's see if the targeting is going to work. Let's just continue that. Oops, I didn't add a turret. That will certainly help. I've got an error now, haven't I? Let's create him on it. That's because this targeted enemy class is inheriting from my no behavior, but because I'm not actually attaching it to the Unity object, it doesn't need it. I don't think it even needs that, does it? Does it need Unity engine? Ah, yeah, it does for the transform. Okay, let's try that then. Okay, yeah, so that wants me to transform a capital T. So the transform a little t is, that's the that's the property from the mono behavior that comes from the mono behavior, rather than the one that I created. Because obviously on any component you can just get the transform of the object that it's on. Yeah, we want to make sure we're using my one. Let's try again. So I'll add a turret. Which one's actually shooting now? Okay, so it's shooting them down there. Not exactly sure on the range, to be honest with you. Yes, it's still shooting the wrong. Why is it shooting those? And now it's not. It's not even shooting anything now, is it? Transform has been destroyed. Ah, that's because I've set up this to get the target to use, and then I'm not using it. So let's change that. We'll just stop that from running. Target to use. Target to use. Okay, so I might actually. I'm just thinking if I want to put this loop here. I don't even use that target 0 anymore. Let's leave it as it is, and I think what I'll do is I'll monitor. Can I see the target? Is that public? It's serialized. But then it's using this class. Not sure if I can see that in the editor. Right, okay, so that's complaining that it's been destroyed. This is obviously not doing anything. I think I need to get the need to get the target to you. I need it in this loop, don't I? And then assign it there. And then this one's just going to remove target to use. I think I just need to override the equals in here. So this is what it does to compare targeted enemies to each other. do I want? I want to get the... Obviously I've got this, which refers to the current class. And then I've got the object that's coming through. That's coming through as an object. So it wants to be targeted enemies. I'll just cast that there. I'll just ask ChatGPT to do it because I think I also need to do something along the lines of checking objects is type targeted enemy. And then what I actually want is to return sort of this dot transform is equal to target dot transform. Yeah, ChatGPT will help me do it properly because I've not really done that very often. Oops, I didn't even tell it what I wanted to do. That's useful. So we'll copy that. I don't think we need all that, to be fair. If the object's null, return false. You don't need to check they're the same time because well, that's what that's doing already. And I think actually it wants to be I think it wants to be checking the type is a targeted enemy. It's a problem with ChatGPT. It's not perfect, but it gets you most of the way there. Probably don't need that. I'll put these on one line, but I'll just keep it there for simplicity's sake. I don't really want all them comments either. And then we'll just feed it into ChatGPT, see if it's got any more to say. Yes, it can't see any flaws of it, so let's run with that. And that's basically so because this remove will use the equals of the object to work out if they're the same. So it knows which one to remove. I think that's fine. It's gonna have to just keep searching for a target. It'll keep searching for a target, and then if there is none, it'll just return. Hopefully that's fixed that issue. I've got a warning there that I haven't implemented hash code. Okay, so this one's definitely targeting the furthest one along. Is this one going to start targeting that one now? It's not. I've got an error. So I think that's because my target to use is probably not null, but the target to use transform is null. So in that case, I want to search for a new target. And I think I'm just going to have it implement a hash code as well. I hate all warnings and error messages. I can't focus on anything else till it's gone. There you go, that'll do. See, that's still not attacking that one, is it? Oh, it is now. But then it started attacking that one down there. How can I even debug this? That's my harpoon tower. I can't see the list of targets. I need to make this serializable. That needs to be serializable. And then I think this one. Yeah, I'm not sure I can make it all serializable. Because that player variables has got text mesh pro references. Oops. Oh, there we go. Got some targets though. What happened to my inspector? What was going on there? Right, object reference not set to instance of object. I think that's just the actual inspector bugging out, right? Is that because of my list? Because I expanded the list. Broken Unity. Let's try it again. Does it tell me which one it is? Okay. If I can make it so that I can see the distance travelled in my enemy stats. What's the best way to do that? I'll just put it in update for now. Ah, there is no update. Wait, where do I set it? So enemy movement. So I set it in there. How can I expose it here? Ah, that's probably why it's not working. I'm still returning 1F. Let's try actually returning the distance travelled and see if that makes a difference. Hopefully that works because I'm not really sure the best way of debugging that. Because to debug it, you'd obviously need to be able to see what the distance travelled is. I suppose we could just click on each enemy and see what it is. It's a bit weird how it seemed to be working before then. Okay, so we'll see now when it comes around there. It's targeting it again now. So is that one. Yeah, I mean it doesn't seem to do it straight away, but I think that's just because of the reload time. Although why is it targeting? So it's targeting the fish, even though it's right next to. I suppose if it's gone around the outside, then it has travelled a bit further, hasn't it? I think that's okay. Well, I'll stick with that for now. I'll put it in a slightly different shade of green. Solved. Could possibly improve. Because I don't want to be fixated on that all day. Right, so can place towers in game over / pause. Let's just have a look at our scripts. So in the game over and pause menu, it stops the game by just setting the time scale to 0. That's what we've got access to at the minute. We've got access to the player variables. Then in the tower hotspot is where we're placing new towers. Ah, we've got access to the player variables there. If I just create a new field here, public bool can place towers. That'll default to true. And then my game over script, when I do this, I'm just going to change that to player variables can place towers. equals false. Then obviously we need to change that again. Where do we change that? Oh no, yeah, I was thinking of the pause menu. I was thinking, obviously when we press resume, obviously game over. Game over is game over, isn't it? So, pause menu. Oops. So show pause menu, can place towers false, resume, can place towers true. Then if we go onto our hotspot, where did it go? Is that our hotspot? Hotspot's not enabled, or the player can't place towers, so not can place towers, then return do nothing. Hopefully that'll fix that one. So that's there, paused, so it stayed there. It's not allowing me to place towers, but it's still doing the hologram. Yeah, because the update only monitors if we're actually pressing the button. So I think I'll do something a bit different here. I think if the player can't place towers, then what I want to do is I want to call it on mouse exit. So if there is a existing tower, so if we can't place towers, no, actually, do we need to do that? I could just return, so that'll stop the hologram from spawning if I just exited this if we can't place towers. Yeah, I'll change that actually, so let's just return out here. Or I can merge it with this. So, or can't place towers. And then I think here instead what we'll have is if can't place towers and spawn tower not equal to null, then let's call on mouse exit and return. So let's think about this. So what have we done? So I've added a return here, so it's not going to spawn any new holograms when that's set to false. And then any existing will get destroyed. So if we can't place towers and there's an existing tower, call on mouse exit, which destroys the tower. And then the next time it goes through, it'll skip this because spawn tower is going to be null. But can place tower is still false, so it'll return here. It won't be calling this over and over again. Let's just save all. Let's try this out. So pause it. Yes, it's gone. And then when I resume, it's back. Yep, that seems to be working okay. Right, we'll take that one off. So that one's solved. Visual aid for turret range. What is the best way to do this? Well, I guess we want something that's on the tower. I've got a couple of thoughts in my mind. I could potentially use a projection. I'm not sure how it would work out that the radius is the same. So what projection does is it just it projects a flat texture onto a 3D object. So say I had one sort of aimed from this corner on here, you'd see it sort of go onto the surface of the corner and follow like how the object corners and things. So that could work. But then you got the issue of how do you know how big it is? Because I wonder if I can just add a simple one so you can see. I've forgotten how to do it. Oh, that's it there. The decal projector. Is that the lowdown? Yeah, so that'll transmit a sprite. I've completely forgotten how they work. Basically, you just sort of target there, and then it'll project it to where it's facing. So you'd rotate it depending on where you want it pointing. Which is why I say it might be difficult to sort of judge how big the. Obviously, I want the projection to copy the tower range. So it'd be hard to sort of work out how big it's going to be by just moving it up or down. That's probably not going to work. I suppose I could just I could just have a sphere. I'm not sure why is it making everything like miles away. Is that done by radius? Ah, what I could do actually. Could potentially do a bit like what we did with the explosion, where it creates a new object. I could do it either way. I was thinking I could have the sphere on a different object, and then when something collides with the sphere, it tells the tower, you know, hey, there's a collision here. And then I suppose the other thing I could do is I could just scale it up. So how would that work then? So let's say I had a radius. Well, let's try it. Let's put Let's go to a space where we don't have anything so we don't accidentally mess the map up. And let's put a tower on there. Just start with the harpoon tower. I just put the sphere with the child there. Set it to 0. That's my harpoon tower's got a radius of 1. I set that to 2. Is that the same? Is that the same as the radius of the tower? I think it is. Then let's say increase the radius to 2. I'll just make that 4. Or is that way bigger? Trying to work out if that's bigger or not. That's the same, right? Just move it over a bit. So make that 4. Like it's gonna. What's that? So the base is 2. So if the radius and that's 4, want that to be 8. Yeah, so that works. I think what we need to do is just multiply the scale by the radius. And then obviously we don't want a big cube there, but we could add something that's sort of see-through. Textures. Let's just try and create something. What if we had a hologram? Yes, that kind of gives you a little bit of an idea. Let's duplicate that. Range indicator. Let's set that to that one. Right, now on this. In fact, I'm not even sure I want the hologram shader. If we just have the... Oh, now I've messed it up. Delete that. Just create a new material using the standard shader. Change the alpha. That's not working. Alpha clipping. Okay, why is that? That's not what I want. Can I change on here? Ah, transparent. Is this going to work? Well, let's try it. I mean, I think the concept works for the most part, but I might have to potentially change how it looks. Let's get rid of you. Prefabs. Get my tower. Create a new 3D object. Sphere. And then by default I want that to be scaled at 2. Which should be the same as the 1 radius on there. I think. Yeah, that's what we said. An harpoon tower. It's a tower behavior script. So we want to have a reference to the, what do I call it? Range indicator. And then range indicator dot scale, transform scale equals 2 is the radius of float. Yeah, so 2 float times tower stats. Float. Oh, it's vector free. So we want a new vector free tower stats dot range. And then I need to set my material on it as well. Obviously I need to make it sort of hide when it's not in placeholder view, I think, but I'll leave it not hidden for now. Towers. Just make it not hidden so we can see what's going on with it. Well, that didn't work, did it? Oh, I didn't set my... I don't think I set the... What's it called? The range indicator in the script. Did I not save my script? Oh, there you go, didn't save my script, that helps as well. Right, let's try again now. That seems quite huge, but then maybe that's what it's doing. Let's just put it in places we can see. It's like this one should now start firing from there. Yeah, so that's right. Not sure I like the effect, but it doesn't really work, does it? Because, well, that looks like, when I hover over there, that looks like it's going to shoot all the way over here. When it's just it's not, it's just sort of 3D space tricking your eyes. How could I do this then? I wonder if someone else has had this problem. Range indicator. That doesn't really help. That's the asset store. It's not. Oh, it is? Yeah, it is. Range indicator tutorial. I'll come back to that one. As this guy says, use a projector. Is what I said first, isn't it? Let's try that then. I'll get rid of that for now. Let's create rendering projector. I've forgotten how to configure it, is the problem. I think we need to look up a tutorial on how to do this. Unity projector. URP. Which renderer feature do I need? Probably the one that says decal. That's probably the one. How can I do this? I don't want to put any random texture in there for now. Only work with a decal material. Okay. How do I create a decal material? Universal render pipeline. If I just search for decal. Where is that actually? Is that miles away? Oh, there we go. That's done that. So if I just put a random texture in there. I'd probably do something similar actually. Probably do that, but sort of circular. So how do I make sure that it's going to draw the correct size? What if I just increase the scale? No. Okay, well let's... Right, so we already know that a sphere with scale 2, oops, not 12, is sort of like the correct height. Let's just move that into the floor. Then what I need is just increase the width. I guess that works, just setting the height and width. Let's just move that there. Is that the same size now then? I think that works actually. I've surprised myself. I thought that was going to be a bit of a nightmare to implement. Okay, let's try and do it again in here then. So we need rendering decal projector. Call that range indicator. And the width and height of that is 2. and that should match the width and height of that, which it does. And then we'll give it a texture. There's my range indicator gone. I think that's okay. If we just add scripts then. What is it? URP decal projector. Let's hope that's a thing there. No. How do I get what the component is? Nice. Good documentation there. How do I get what that's called? Unity URP decal projector. Oh, it's just called decal projector, is it? Decal projector. Okay, let's try this. Range indicator. Let's be private, but I want to see it in the inspector. There we go. Right, so then the range indicator dot width. How do I get access to that? Range indicator. That's the width of the projection plan. Size. What's depth actually? Projection depth. Oh, okay. It could be that size. Let's have a look at what else is available. Right, I suspect it's the size. New 3. 2f times tower stats dot range. Both. Right, okay, let's see see how that works. See if we get any errors or anything. Can't see anything. Well, I can see something actually. Not quite what I wanted, I think. Let's pause this. And click, let's check this tower out. Oh, so it's set that. It has set the size of it. Yeah, it has set the width and the height. What's up with it then? The depth. Ah, there we go. Hang on, let's undo that. That's how it was. I just increase the depth then. I think if I just set the depth to 15, that'll probably work. I'm just thinking if I can make it not, because it kind of hides my turret. Although I guess if I just use a graphic with nothing in the middle there, that's probably okay. What's that saying? X and Y, that's fine. So now Z, and that's just going to get set to 15F. It should be enough to cover it. And obviously it'll become circular when I have my I create a circle texture for it. Let's do the same as before then. Yes, that's working. I mean, it's getting rotated, but once it's a circle, again, the rotation shouldn't matter. Actually, it might matter a little bit. Let's click on that. Because it kind of always wants to be upright. Actually, it's okay because it's only going to be appearing when we're placing the tower. So that should be okay. Okay, so let's sort that out as well then. So we set the size. What can we do here then? Update. What are we on now? We're on the tower behavior. Go back to the tower hotspot. So when we click, okay, so we've got a reference here to the tower behavior. I think what we'll do is we'll just create a method to set range indicator visible. That'll take a boolean is visible. Range indicator game object active. Alright, so then now in my tower behavior, not tower behavior, in my tower hotspot, I just get a reference to this one. So Alt and Enter, introduce local. That's fine. Tower behavior dot set range indicator visible false. Once we've placed it, it's going to make it not visible anymore. And we'll do the same here as well, actually. Tower behavior, set range indicator visible. This time I want true. Let's give that a try. It seemed to work, because obviously it's present there, and then when I place it, it's not. I was just looking at, like here, for example. I place that there. Oh, I can't, I don't have enough money. Start again. I placed it in the middle, and it was shooting the ones at the edge, which seemed to be outside of the decal, but I'm not sure if that's just because the decal is a bit smaller, just due to the texture. Enable that again. Yeah, so it's just the texture, because the texture's got a bit of a gap around the edge, that's why. Okay, so let's go in GIMP and make ourselves a little indicator. Oh, new. And if we just get right in the corner there. I know that's hard to see, I can barely see it as well. That should be a perfect circle. If I remember right, we can stroke the path. How do we do that? Stroke selection. Stroke line. 1 pixel. Did that do anything at all? Don't know if that did anything. Let's try to increase the pixels. That did nothing. Stroke with paint tool. It still did nothing. Right, okay. I guess we'll do it sort of the old school way. Oh, it's not doing anything at all. Why is my brush not working? Not got it visible, that's why. Right. That was a good idea, wasn't it, Graham? Right, so go back to the new layer. So I suspect at least one of them worked. Stroke selection. Yes, that's okay. Let's go in there. Make some of these lines a bit more solid. In fact, what happens if I just stroke it again? Undo that. There we go. Sure, there's probably a better way to do that, but seems to work. Keep going to the wrong menu every time I do that. Right, so that seems okay. The only thing I'm not quite happy with is this bit here. It's a bit thinner. I know it makes it a bit not quite circle, but well, we'll try it. Oops. Call that range indicator. Again, it's typing down there. It loves typing down there. Range indicator. Let's export that as well. Export the PNG. We'll just see what that looks like. So textures, towers. We'll drop it in there. Gonna get rid of that one. That's our old sphere one. I'm gonna rename this one to the range indicator because that's a better name. I'm just gonna lock that. I'll drag that texture on. There we go. Nice. I'm quite surprised at how well that works actually. That's pretty decent. Another thing is, excuse me 1 second. A bit of a tickle in my throat there. The only thing is, so obviously here I can't afford the tower. And then the hologram goes red. But the projections stay in white. So let's try change that. I'm gonna have to copy this if statement. It's not a renderer. It's not in this loop. But then again, we only want to do that if if they ain't got enough money for it. But we should have a reference, I think. We've got a reference? No, we don't have a reference. What we can do though is create a method in here, public void set range indicator color. We just have color in here. Color. A range indicator. Material. Color. New color. Let's put it in here. So tower behavior dot set range indicator color. Color dot red. See if that works. So it's still white. And now it should be red and it's not red. How can we do this? Unity, change, decal, projector, color, code. This is HDRP, but it might still help. Okay, so they're saying it's not possible. So I think what I'll do is I could have a different material depending on if different material depending on if it's what color it is. Yes, I could have a range indicator green or range indicator red. I think I'll do that actually. This one should be green. An easy way to change that. No, I'll just change it in here. So colors, colorize. Can make it green. That didn't work. GIMP, change color of layer. That's seriously just going to tell me to use the paint bucket, surely. Ah, okay. That's a bit more advanced than what I was needing. To be honest, the paint bucket would probably do the job. What I should try and do this actually. That'd be kind of good to learn how to do. Create a new layer. What's the bit that actually does the recoloring then? So we just change that mode. We changed it to burn. If we just have, let's try that then. So new layer. Then I just want to recolor everything, so let's just do a paintbrush. Make it green. Oh, I've still got my selection. Change that one then. Burn. Where is burn? There. Ah, it didn't work. It worked on that one, but not on the white. Okay, so I guess you can't do it with the white. What else might I want? There we go, multiply. That's exactly what I want, so let's export that as range indicator green. And then we want the same again. Then we'll have a red. So it needs to turn the green off. There we go. We'll export that as range indicator red. Green, red, let's drag those in. I'm gonna get rid of that one. Make these sprites. I thought this one had one on. Decal projector. Oh, it's because I'm not playing, is it? Right, so it should be green. Just make sure it's green before we do anything else. Yep, so that's green. Let's duplicate that one. Rename this one range indicator green. Range indicator red, and then the red one. Just want to select our red material. Right, so our script. Is it this one? No, it's this one. I'll just create a small enum here. So public enum range indicator color. We've got green and we've got red. So if new color equal to green, then we want to set the range indicator dot material. Then we also need, I want to set it to the green one. We don't have a reference to it yet, so let's material range indicator green, material range indicator red. So you have everything's a tongue twister when you're streaming. Right, material equals range indicator green. Outsave red. Range indicator material. Range indicator red. Yeah, that wants to be red. There might be a bug here where, say you're waiting to place a tower. If you're waiting to place a tower, and then you suddenly get enough money. Ah, there's that fixed here. It's not, I'll note that down to test. If no money, red, gain money, doesn't update to green. No, save all. We need to go into our prefab and assign those materials. Assets, textures, towers, materials. Right. Range indicator green. Range indicator red. Right, hopefully this works. Yeah, there you go. Don't need no complicated scripts for that, like that other forum was suggesting. Okay, so let's let's apply that to our others. Got assets. Let's create a prefab of our range indicator. And then just be able to add it now. Add that, and then in there, just need to set my indicator textures. Green, red, and that's my indicator. Let's get rid of this. Don't need that anymore. Right, let's play that. It works there. Oh, and there as well. Nice. Prefabs have the same range. Towers. Range 20. Just set that to range 10. Yeah, there you go, look. Awesome, so that's range indicators. Maybe a bug with it, but it seems to work for the most part. So I'm just going to stop here, take a short break, get some lunch, and then we're back on to hopefully tackle most of the rest of this. And yeah, we'll see where we get to. So, if you're still watching at this point, thanks for watching and sticking around. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, it really helps out the channel. And I'll see you next time.